So, question 1, if I'm given 2 bracket x minus 4, expand that bracket. Question 2, if I'm given x multiplied by x minus 4, expand that bracket. If I have x minus 2, x minus 4, and then lastly, question 4, if I've got x minus 2, x minus 4, expand that bracket. Okay, give it a go. Try this, I'll give you a few minutes and then we'll go through it. Okay, so let's go through this now. The first thing is when you have a number in front of a bracket, make sure you multiply it by both the terms inside the bracket. And the second thing is whenever you have a positive and a negative, it becomes a negative. If you had a negative and a negative, it becomes a positive. And if you had a negative and a positive, it would become a negative. So pay attention to the sign. 2 times x gets you 2x. 2 times negative 4 gets you negative 8. So that'll be 2x minus 8. Question 2, x times x is x squared. And x times negative 4 gets me negative 4x. X times x here gets me x squared. X times negative 4, negative 4x. Negative 2 times x, negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 4, positive 8. And then we collect the like terms in the middle to get negative 6x plus 8. Exactly the same thing over here. Remember, this is FOIL. First terms multiply, then outer, and inner two terms, and L. FOIL, right? So F is first here. 5x multiplies by x to get 5x squared. We basically have to multiply every single term in the first bracket by every single term in the second. So start with the 5x and multiply across. 5x times x is x squared, 5x times 4 is 20x. Then go negative 2 times x is negative 2x, negative 2 times positive 4 is negative 8. Pay attention, this is a negative, because negative times positive is a negative. The middle two terms, if you follow this method, will end up as like terms if you use the FOIL method. But look for like terms if you don't use the FOIL method. That'll be 20 minus 2, which will get you 18x minus 8. And then 5x squared plus 18x minus 8. All right, let's move on. So the next round of questions here is simplification. See if you can answer question 1 to 4 on simplify. Continue with algebra. Give it a go. Try it. You're done. Let's go through it. Just make any notes if you need to as well along the way. The moment you got fractions and you want to simplify it, just remember that you have to have the concept of a common denominator in mind, which means over here you got x over 3. So let's make this as 2 over 1. So now we can find a common denominator, which will be 3. So in other words, I could multiply this right hand side by 3. It'll become x plus 6 over 3. Because the denominators will be the same, this will end up at 6. And that answers the question. It's now a single fraction. All right, question number 2. I got 3x squared y all to the power of 3. Now, for this one here, I need to distribute the 3 into the bracket and multiply it by every single power inside the bracket. If you have a number, it's to the power of 1. If you have no power, it's to the power of 1. Then I take 3 and multiply it by every single power in the bracket, getting me 3 to the power of 3, x to the power of 6, y to the power of 3. 3 to the power of 3 is 27, x to the power of 6, and then y to the power of 3. Okay. The next one. I've got 8 going into 48 as a fraction. 8 goes into 48 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. So for this next one, you can put a 1 at the top and a 6 at the bottom. When I am dividing like bases, what do I do with powers? I minus them, right? So I'm going to subtract 3 minus 1, which is going to give me 2 at the top. I do exactly the same thing with this one. But I always minus if I can remember. I like to use this method. If I take the highest power, I minus it from the lowest power. But I always put the answer where I started. So 2 minus 1 is 1 at the bottom, because that's where I started. 3 minus 1 is 2 at the top, because that's where I started there. And I'm done. This is now simplified. I can also write this as x squared over 6y. Alright, the next one. 2 multiplies by x getting me 2x. 2 multiplies by negative 3 getting me negative 6. Negative 3 times x gets me negative 3x. And negative 3 times negative 2 gets me positive 6. Big important step here. Minus times the bracket minus becomes plus. Alright, in the notice board, very important step here. Like terms now will get me 2x plus 3x, and 2x minus 3x will be negative x. And negative 6 plus 6 actually becomes 0. So the final answer here would be negative x for this. Okay. Give these 4 questions a go now. Let's see what you got. This is to do with factorization. Factorize each of the following. All right. Let's go through these now. Okay. So the first one here, I'm factorizing 12 and 24. What I notice is that 24 is actually 12 times 2. I also notice that x squared is x times a. So if I have to divide both terms by a common number, I can divide the highest common factor is 12 and x. And that's the number I put on the outside of the bracket. Once I divide it, I write whatever's left inside the bracket, keeping the same sign. 24 divided by 12 is 2, and the x's cancel out. And I'm done. I do exactly the same thing here. Let's go straight to the division part. I divide both sides by, I can divide both of them. It has to be both terms. I can divide this by a and a. I can't go any higher than that because there's no other power higher than a here. And I can divide this side by b and b. I can't go higher than any power. So that's the highest power that I can produce. When I cancel this out, I'll be left with squared, and the b's will cancel, leaving you with a squared. When I cancel that out, it'll be a, b goes into b squared, b's times, so it's plus b. And I'm done. Fully factorized, and there's nothing else that I can take out from it. Partial factorization means that you left something inside the bracket and you haven't taken it out, like the b is still in there, and then you won't get full marks for that, you'll only get half marks for it. Alright, the next one I noticed that all the letters are different. But what number can divide into 3, 6, and 9? And that's 3. So I divide each of it by 3. 3 goes into 6 twice, 3 goes into 9 3 times. Put the 3 on the outside of the bracket, whatever is common, and write whatever is left. Minus 2y plus 3z inside the bracket, and I'm done. This one will be 2 marks. 2 marks. 2 marks at least, so put the more marks in it, maybe 3. And for the next one, dividing both sides by 2, looking at the highest common factor, highest number, and lowest power. X is the lowest power, and y, power 1 is the lowest power, which is y. So 2xy goes on the outside of the bracket, canceling out the 2's. X goes into x cubed twice, so this is going to be x squared. Y goes into y, cancels out completely, so minus now. 2 goes into 4 2 times, so we put that 2 there. X cancels out, so it disappears. Y goes into y squared, just y. We're left with 2y. Alright, and that's going to be some factorization. Okay, this is part of equations. All we have to do is try and find the value of x for each one. Give it a go, try this question. You have 4 questions over here. When you're done, press play, or once you've tried it. All right, so let's go through all of them from question 1 to question 4. Okay, question 1. I've got a number which is technically invisibly multiplied by x there. So if I divide this by 1.4, x will become on its own, which is what I want. And because it's an equation, I will divide both sides by it, and it'll be 3. Because 14 times 3 is 42, so 1.4 times 3 is 4.2. And then I got 2x plus 3 equals x minus 4 for the next one. In this one over here, I need to get all the x's onto the left-hand side. But if I do move any x's, it has to change sign. So this is going to become negative x once I've moved it. And I'm going to get all the numbers onto the right-hand side. And also, once I've moved any number over to the right-hand side, I've got to change the sign to the opposite. In this case, plus 3 will become minus 3, removing itself completely from there. So that becomes 2x minus x on the left-hand side, and then minus 3 minus 4 on the right-hand side. 2x minus x becomes x, and minus 3 minus 4 becomes minus 7. And then that would be my final answer there. I would also test this if I need to just quickly test the solution. Whenever you're dealing with equations, you can always check if you're right by substituting it back into the question. So if I substitute this and do a quick check somewhere here, let's say here, 2 times negative 7 plus 3, right? That's negative 14 plus 3, which is negative 11. And if I do a test on this side, negative 7 minus 4 is negative 11. So I know this is right now, because by checking it, I'm getting it right. Okay. The next one, I've got a bracket. So the next one, I have to multiply the number into the bracket, and that will become 2x times negative 16 equals 10. The other option I could have also done is divide both sides by 2. So by taking 2x minus 8 and dividing it by 2 on both sides will get me x minus 8 equals 5. And then plusing 8 on both sides means x will be 13. So that's where I divide by 2 and then plus 8 by changing sides, changing signs. That's what we say, right? Changing sides, changing signs. That's what we did here. We change the x over to the other side, and we change the sign to the opposite. We change the 3 sides to the other side, and we change it into minus. Over here, what I'm going to do is exactly the same thing. So this is going to become plus 16, so 10 plus 16, and it's going to have gone, leaving me with 2x, and this is the first method. 10 plus 16 gets me 26. Divide by 2 to isolate x, and so x equals 13. For question 4, we have a bit of that twice on both sides. So we have to first multiply it out twice. Don't forget to multiply it twice. So 3x minus 12 equals 2x plus 4. Now 2x is going to subtract from the left-hand side. So it'll be 3x minus 2x, and then it disappears. All right, let's now move this over here. Then negative 12 also moves over, becomes positive 12. And positive 12 plus 4 is 16. 3x minus 2x, put together like them, which is x. The final answer is x equals 16. If you're not sure about your solution at any point in time, do a quick check. And if you allow a calculator, do a quick check with a calculator. 16 minus 4 is 12. 12 times 3 is going to get me 36. 16 plus 2 is 18. 18 times 2 is 36 for this one. Okay. All right. Now, let's go to the next step. Continuing with solving for x, what happens when we have a little bit of fractions involved? Something like this. What if we got 7 over x plus 3 equals 2? And you want to find x. The question says solve for x. Give this one a go. It's just I'm using fractions. If you're given a fraction like this, right, and you could use the blockout method. The blockout method is if you block out anything that's next to x or together with x out completely, you can see that that is 3.5. Okay, that is 3.5 because 7 divided by 3.5 is 2. Okay, so using this now, I got this and I move it aside here, if I can possibly move the whole thing. And that part there, oops, okay. So anyway, x plus 3 equals 3.5. If I take x plus 3 and I write it separately somewhere, x plus 3 equals 3.5, and I use the blockout method again, and I block it out there, then that has to be 0.5, because 0.5 plus 3 equals 3.5, which means that x is 0.5. So x is equal to 0.5. And that's done. Okay, does that make sense? This is a pretty simple method of solving. So if I give you another one, 6 over x plus 2 equals 3. Solve for x. Try the blockout method, see if it helps. You can use this for any equation as well. Alright, so for this one here, using the blockout method, if I block this out, that should be 2, because 6 divided by 2 is 3. So x plus 2 must be 2. So x has to be 0. Therefore, x is equal to 0. Okay, solving for x. Now let's see if we can do a quick test on all of them. Okay. Quick test to see if you can do randomly one from each. Okay, so I'm gonna, or just randomly expand the following 2 bracket x. Let's make it 2x minus 3 plus 5. Question 2. Simplify 2x squared y cubed. Question 3. Factorize 3x squared minus 6x. In question 4, solve for x. Given negative 2x minus 3 equals 4. Give it a go, try your best, let's see what you got. Alrighty, let's go through each one of these now. The first one here, I'm going to go 2 times 2x, which is going to get me 4x. 2 times negative 3 gets me negative 6. And I'm just going to bring the plus 5 down, simplifying negative 6 plus 5 using integers carefully to get 4x minus 1. Well done if you got that. The next part, I distribute the power and multiply it by every single power. And if I don't have a power, I put 1. So it would be 2 to the power of 3, x to the power of 6, and y to the power of 3. And I change 2 to the power of 3 into a solid number. So it looks like that in the final solution. I take 3x out of the bracket here because I can divide both of these by 3x. And I'll be left with cancelling out, x, and 3 goes into 6, 2, x minus 2. The next one, to solve for x, I got minus 2, x minus 3, so minus 2 goes into the bracket, becomes minus 2x. Minus times the minus is a plus, so this is plus 6 equals 4. And now I've got an equation to solve. Don't forget this is plus 6 because minus times minus is a plus. I need to get all the numbers over. So if I move the plus 6, it's going to become a minus 6 on the other side. So 4 minus 6 equals, continuing from here, so I got negative 2x equals 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2 gets me x equal to 1. So x is equal to 1. Okay, next round. Question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4. Question 1, expand 2 bracket x minus 3 minus 4 bracket 2x plus 5. Question 2, 3x cubed y to the power 4 over 6x y to the power of 5. Simplify. Question 3, factorize negative 4x squared plus 2x minus 8x cubed. In question 4, solve for x. 2 bracket x minus 4 equals 3 bracket 2x minus 3. Alright, give it a go, try your best for each of these. Alright, I'm going to go through each one of these. The first one here, I need to expand it, so I need to actually get some space first. I'm trying to move these a bit down. Okay, so 2 goes into bracket, becomes 2x minus 6. Minus 4 times 2 becomes minus 8x. Minus 4 times 5 becomes minus 20. 2x minus 8x is negative 6x. Minus 6 minus 20 is minus 26. And I'm done. Can't go any further than that. Those are not like terms. I've already gathered the like terms. 2 minus 8 to get negative 6x. And negative 6 minus 20 using integers becomes minus 6. Pay attention to the negative here. Minus times plus is a minus. The next one, 3 goes into 6 2 times, so this will be 2 here. 3 minus 1, 8 will give you to the power of 2 at the top. And then 4 cancels out the 5 with 1 more at the bottom, which will complete this, so just 5 at the bottom. Final answer, x squared over 2y. To factorize this, I gotta divide each of these by the same number, and that would be 2. But because I started with negative, I need to remove that as well. So I have to divide by negative 2. And then the highest power of x, which is 1. So that's going to be my common factor, negative 2x in a bracket. When I cancel this out, I'll be left with 2 and x. For the first term, negative 1 or just negative 1. Negative times, negative goes to negative is positive. 8 divided by 2 is 4. X goes into that 4x squared times. That gets me negative 2x bracket 2x minus 1 plus 4x. The next one, 2x times 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. 3 times 2x would become 6x. And 3 times negative 3 would be negative 9. Subtracting 6x onto the left-hand side. So making it disappear and making it negative 6x. Then making negative 8 disappear, making it positive 8 on the other side, we end up looking like this. 2x minus 6x equals negative 9 plus 8. 2x minus 6x is negative 4x, and negative 9 plus 8 is negative 1. If I divide both sides by negative 4, x will equal a quarter. So x equals a quarter, which is possible if you can get fractions in school. Okay.